everybody, and welcome to Special Olympics Minnesota. We are live today. We have got a great activity that we are ready to present to you. So thank you for joining us. Those of you that do not recognize me, my name is Danny Druce, and I am a program manager, and I'm also a manager for our athlete leadership with Special Olympics Minnesota. And I have got Mike Kane with me today.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody in Special Olympics. Excited to have you join here in today. We are bringing some really special people today. Every month we take a look at our Special Olympics Minnesota champions. And this month we've got not one, but we've got two very awesome champions that our athlete and staff member, Nell Coonen-Korte, is going to do an in-depth review. And I can't wait. Dana, aren't you excited? We're going to hear some great stories.
My cheeks are hurting. I'm so excited. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and bring on our special guest so we can get moving. So first off, welcome Nell. Hey, Nell.
Hello, everybody.
We are so excited for your interview today. So I'm going to bring in your special guests. Once they come in, go ahead and introduce them, okay?
Perfect.
All right. Okay.
All right. Hello, everybody. We are going to be interviewing Molly Eagan and Breana Beach, and they are both involved with the Plunges and Young Athletes program for Special Olympics. And I'm Nell Coonen-Korte, and I'm a staff member for Special Olympics program assistant, and I'm also a Special Olympic athlete. So welcome, guys. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Nell.
Hi, thanks for having us today.
No problem. So the first question is, tell us about your involvement with Special Olympics.
Molly, you can go first.
All right. So I am a staff member at Special Olympics on our events team. So help plan all the different fundraisers that we do. I've been with Special Olympics for about a little over 4 years. And then prior to that, about 10, 11 years ago, I was an intern also on the events team. So help plan some stuff there. And then started full-time a little over 4 years ago. And then also, which we'll be talking about more, I help Breana volunteer at her Young Athletes program too, pretty much since I started at Special Olympics. So it was 4 years ago.
All right, I'm Breana Beach. I am one of the deputy directors of the Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics Minnesota. I've been involved with Special Olympics for approximately 15 years, but that was prior to when I got involved in the Law Enforcement Torch Run. I started my involvement on that side in 2008 when I did my first final leg. And then I got involved with Young Athletes about, when was it? Probably about 10 years ago. Where after I attended a state conference with my sister, we became certified coaches and decided to start a Young Athletes program in our area.
That's awesome. I'm also a coach for young athletes as well.
Very fun.
I also know that both of you are involved in the Young Athletes program. Can you tell us more about the Young Athletes program?
Sure, I'll start. So Young Athletes is a program for anybody ages 2 to 8 to come and experience a little bit of what Special Olympics is like. They get basic sports skills. We work on things like kicking a ball, catching a ball, running styles, a little bit of balance, and then a little bit of our program. We offer a special program within Young Athletes called Strider Bikes, where we work on balance bikes to teach our kiddos how to ride a bike.
Yeah, so it's kind of an intro to Special Olympics and what it's all about. So for traditional athletes, the age that they can start is at 8 years old. So it's a way that they can be a part of it before and just learn some of those basic skills before joining in the other competitions and everything else once they're 8 years old. So just fun way to get people introduced early on, because like Breana said, it's for people with and without an intellectual disability can be a part of the Young Athletes program. So just really kind of starts that inclusion piece early on.
Great. What has your involvement meant to you?
I can start with that one. I think it's just been so. Like I said, for Young Athletes, I started it shortly after I started at Special Olympics. I had met Breana at one of our torch run conferences, and she brought up the program and wanted to help out. So after going the first time, got hooked, and it's just a great way, especially being on the fundraising and development side. We don't get to see as much of the program side of things as much, or, a lot of athletes come out to our events, so get to hang out with them and see firsthand what we're doing that way. But it's just really great to just see, the mission at work at Young Athletes and get more involved on the other side of things besides just being at our fundraising events and that. So it's been a really fun way to just stay more connected for me.
So for me, working in law enforcement can be really difficult. And the involvement in Special Olympics brings a lighter side to my life and the benefits of the community that are positive. And it fills my cup every day. It brings joy to my life and really has built a network of great friends that I can have positive interactions with.
It sounds like you both wear a lot of hats at Special Olympics. Can you share one of your favorite memories?
Yeah, go first.
Molly and I talked about this last night. I know I had mine ready and she was still thinking. So mine for sure was when I went to the World Games and ran the final leg in 2019 in Abu Dhabi.
So mine, I just feel like I had too many different ones. I think too, just on the young athlete side overall for that. I think just my favorite part of being involved in memory from that is just some of the kids that you see. So the sessions are 8 to 10 weeks long. There's some kids that we get there that don't want to leave mom's side. They cry, don't want to be a part of anything. And by the end are the ones that maybe are crying because they don't want to leave, and just seeing the growth and how much they just love coming week after week and just seeing the changes. And I think that's just my favorite part, and just why it makes me want to keep going back and seeing that, because it just keeps you going each week and just seeing how happy all the kiddos are to be there. And just the relationships that they're forming too, I think is my favorite part. So
yeah, I agree. Watching them form their little friendships at such a young age is very cute.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way as a coach, just seeing the changes and seeing the independence grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is inclusion so important to you?
Let me go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go. Okay. I think it's just so important for everyone to just feel welcome, no matter their abilities, and just getting the same opportunities. I've just seen it through my whole life, and growing up, one of my best friends in elementary school had Down syndrome. So just having that relationship, and then, seeing how maybe he was treated sometimes too, and just was always kind of wanted to fight back against that, and just everyone kind of feeling welcome, and no matter what, kind of having a place and getting the same opportunities. And I think now too, having my own kids, and just when they're younger, kind of learning from the start. And that's why I like young athletes and programs like that just get people in that mindset growing up, and always being able to have it kind of ingrained in them is what I think it's so important.
My answer would be that I enjoy a world where we focus on people's abilities rather than their differences, and everybody just seems to be happier and does better in life, thrives in life, when you can focus on abilities rather than looking at our differences.
Yeah, and I think too, another thing, like, you just never fully know or like can tell from just quick interactions with people, or you never know like when someone may need a little extra kindness in their life or just need that person to be a friend too. So I think just remembering we never fully know what everyone's going through or kind of what's going on in life. So just trying to be, that positive light, or just keeping that always in the back of your mind too, of you don't know everything that's happening. So
No, I totally agree with both of you. I know you're both very involved with the LETR polar plunge. Tell us about the upcoming plunge season.
That was all you, Molly.
So yeah, we are going to be back in action. And we had it last year, but we'll still be we have over 22 locations again this year to choose from. So if you're wanting to plunge, there should be one near you. But we also have virtual plunges back again. So kind of can plunge your way anywhere, anytime. So you can choose what you want to do for a plunge. If there's not one near you or don't want to come out in person this year, we have options. And then also at our in-person ones, we start January 29th is our first weekend, and then wrap things up in the middle of March. So lots of opportunities. PlungeMN.org has more information on where that is, but should be a great season. We'll still have, some precautions in place for events this year, but should look a little bit more back to normal. But we'll still have some time slots just to keep numbers down a bit at a time. But excited to be back out there and have so many chances for people to come out and plunge, and makes winter go by quicker in a way to something to get us outside in the cold for a fun reason. So.
I always say that's my favorite part about winter is taking the plunge.
It is.
Yeah, I think Molly covered it all. I think we're starting to make ice already, so that's a great sign.
Yes, that's another thing. We're back to our normal time. So if people took the plunge last year and it was a little different, a lot of them were those run in, run outs, which some people like more, or some people don't.
I personally hate the run-ins.
For me, I feel like it takes a lot more effort, or like you have to think about it a lot more to keep running through and pushing through. Where when you just jump, once you jump, you have no choice. So it'll be nice to kind of be back to our traditional cutting a hole and jumping in, and a true plunge versus a lake, more of a run than just a plunge. So I think that'll be great too.
I plunged at Mille Lacs last year. I think it was like 80 degrees.
Right. And last year, I think, was the first of my 4 or 5 plunge seasons where it had rain instead of snow. It was like 50 degrees. So that was a new pulling out the rain boots versus the snow boots. So we could be back in the winter gear this year. Yeah. So.
And I always say it's not really a plunge unless you get submerged. So it's easier to get submerged when you jump in versus running in.
Right. It makes it a lot harder, especially when some of those lakes aren't very, you feel like you're running miles out there to get any sort of depth. So.
I've plunged multiple times. How many times have you plunged?
I don't know the exact number. I know it's more than 15, but I don't know the exact number. I'm one of those terrible people that doesn't have like a tally on that. I don't want to know.
Mine, I think I'm only at about 5 or 6, so I have some catching up to do to a lot of others. But I'd say a couple of years ago, at one of the super plunges that I was helping out at Minneapolis, was the first time that I plunged twice in a row. So they jumped in, and everyone said we had to get back in the water and do it a second time. So that was something new to me. But I have to say, I think the second time plunging was honestly probably better, because you're already cold and you already had that initial shock. So
sounds like you want to be a super plunger, Mom.
No, I don't think I could do 24 times. I can handle 2, but after that, I was definitely ready. I was just very nervous for the second one, but went better than I thought. So hey, the super plungers, I gave a big shout out to for doing 24 and 24 hours. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've
I
only
would
done,
love to do the super plunge. I
Yeah,
love
but
plunging.
No, thank you.
I usually do two a year. So, and I've
Yeah.
been doing it for the last 17 years. So,
That's so
Wow,
fun.
you've got us beat.
Yeah, I know. When I think of them, I mean, I'm at what, 5 or 6, and if people do 24 hours, and I'm only a sixth of the way there. And I think my first plunge was 8 years ago. So I've got some work to do. It looks like.
well, somebody chatted in. What is the coldest plunge you've plunged in?
I don't know that I plunged in it, but I worked at a plunge that was well below zero. It was very cold.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I didn't plunge at the ones, but a couple of years ago we had a few that were close to below zero. And just like with the wind chill, so that's kind of a factor too. It was probably. I feel like Woodbury, the plunge is the one that I work on. That seems to be the coldest weekend of the year always, which was like the third or so weekend, I think. And then I also do the plunges up in like War Road and Roseau. Now that's usually been fairly cold, but not quite as bad as I would have expected sometimes with location. But
Yeah, I remember one Minneapolis plunge where it was below zero wind chill factors, and it was the only time I've ever, like, what did I get myself into?
right. And now
Can't think about it.
Right. It's kind of funny though how you just never know with plunges if it's gonna be 10 below or 45 degrees, and like one weekend it could be that, or the day before. Wasn't Breana a couple years ago, I think just before I started in Anoka County, it was like 30 on Friday, and then on Saturday it was 70. So still great ice and a way to plunge, but wintry. Or then it was like
very
a summer
soupy.
the day of.
It was very sloppy.
Yeah. So you just never know what you're gonna get, but
I think that's
fun.
kind of what makes it fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
I think we've already asked this, but how many I've plunged, okay. Do you have a favorite plunge memory?
Ooh, I would say mine was probably back when I plunged with my old law enforcement agency. They used to have some bands at a pre-party at White Bear Lake at Jimmy's, and we had some fun. He's actually a super fun plunger. Jared Polis was dressed up as a fairy, and I remember vividly he was playing musical chairs with the kids, dressed up as a fairy.
That's awesome.
That's fun. I think one of mine, so before I worked at Special Olympics, my old company I worked with, we had a plunge team for a few years in a row. And then we'd go to Minneapolis and we'd all dress up. And one year we had like a dance to jump in. So that was super fun, just the team there. And then in general, just working a plunge every weekend for about 8 weeks in a row. There's always just different funny things for setup or things that the things you come across you wouldn't think of. Or things I feel like I'm always finding like ice anchors or random things in my pocket and zip ties for weeks after. So it's just always funny that plunge, I feel like, is just always around and giving you just little reminders and memories throughout the year until it's time again. So,
yeah.
And somebody chatted in, is there a mobile plunge unit?
Yes, so we have a new mobile plunge unit for people that haven't seen it. It's just a plunge or kind of a pool on wheels. So we can take it to different locations in communities. Our main thing that we use it for is schools. So with a lot of our unified champion schools that we work with, we bring the plunge to them. So instead of having to come out to the lake, it's just a way we can bring it to their parking lot, fill it up, and then the students can participate in it that way. But really just lots of different uses and ways that we can bring the plunge to places that don't have a lake available, but people still want to be a part of it and be able to have that same experience. So
Why do our law enforcement partners care so much about plunges?
I can speak to that one. So plunges, I think, in Minnesota have become somewhat of a tradition. It's a great fundraising effort for our state, particularly because of our weather, to raise funds and awareness for our athletes of Special Olympics Minnesota. But I think secretly we really care about the rival of who's going to beat what agency and raising the most money. But it's a great fundraising effort and awareness piece for law enforcement agencies to get involved, be involved in their community, raise funds for our athletes, and have a little bit of fun while they're doing it.
What is the mission of the LETR?
So LETR, it's really a grassroots fundraising and awareness effort. So it started, it's just a small run in Kansas about 40 years ago, just a way they wanted to help raise funds and awareness for Special Olympics. So I think that's where a lot of people, when you hear law enforcement torch run, a lot of times everyone's saying, when's the run? Which running is a small part of it. So it should be more like the torch movement or that, but it's because it started as a run, but it's so much more than that. So there's different, like the polar plunge obviously is one of our biggest fundraisers. We do have the torch run final leg. And then there's just a ton of various different events with Dunkin' Donuts, Cop on a Rooftop,
Tip of Cop,
golf,
Plane pole.
Plane pole. So there's just so many different events. So any event that we partner with law enforcement for is part of the torch run movement. So yes, there is a run, but it's really everything that they do to help raise money for the athletes and raise more awareness about Special Olympics. And really, without the partnership, they help raise so much money for Special Olympics every year, and really are what kind of keep us going. So.
What is the Flame of Hope?
I can answer that one, Molly. It represents courage and diversity while celebrating the unification of communities across the globe. So it's just really the symbol of what law enforcement and Special Olympics stands for. Just courage, inclusion, celebrating our abilities, and championing for one another.
Well, someone chatted in, what is your favorite LETR event?
That's a tough question.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say it's hard. I mean, I do so much with plunge, so it's hard for that not to be number one just because it's so much in what we do. And so I'd say that's my number one. But outside of plunge, my other one I'd have to say is plane pull. It's just such a unique event and fun to be a part of. So that's another, I'd say that's kind of a close second. But yeah.
I am going to say for me, it's the Dunkin' event every year. My agency really has a blast. We have the same athletes that come out every year, help us out. And it's just so much fun. We have spent the whole day laughing and raising a ton of money for Special Olympics. But it's really one of the few events where we get to spend several hours alongside the athletes raising money and awareness. And we cherish it every year.
Yeah. That's probably my close third. So there's too many good ones.
Yeah, my top three would be the plunge, plane pull, and then the tip of cops.
Mm-hmm.
I love going to tables with the cops and telling people about what Special Olympics is and what it means to me.
Yeah, that's what I like about with like Dunkin' and tip of cops in that one. There's just a lot more room to have those personal connections and just really get behind like telling people what Special Olympics is all about. That you don't necessarily get in plunge. People know kind of what it's for, but you don't have as much of those conversations and really being able to spread like why you're there and what it's about. So that's what I like about those ones compared to the other, that it's more that you get the fundraising side too, but a lot more awareness and connection to really get people to know what it's about and hopefully get involved in other ways too. So
Yeah.
Why do officers choose to get involved with Special Olympics?
So the Law Enforcement Torch Run is the charity of choice for our international chiefs of police. So most law enforcement agencies really, I don't want to say push, but it's their number one priority for engagement of a volunteer effort within their agency. But I think the trick is getting the officers to one event, and then once they're there, they're hooked for life. One interaction with a Special Olympics athlete will change an officer's life, and you'll see them coming back year in, year out.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's what she said. It's just such a fun way to get involved. And like Breana had said before, it's kind of that bright spot in their day. And there may be some that had some sort of connection to Special Olympics before, and that's how their agency gets involved. Or we've heard a lot of people say, like, whether they're on the community engagement team or just whatever their roles in their agency. And it's like, hey, this is who we partner with. They want to do an event with us. Like, you're going to lead this for us. The person comes out, does the event, and then they're hooked, like she said. And especially getting people involved with our different competitions and stuff, like coming to our games and giving out awards or being a part of that. I think they get to see the smiles on the athletes' faces as they're getting their medals or their awards and giving high fives and hugs and smiles. So it's like, after you're part of that, how can you say no? And just want to keep coming back year after year. So I think it's just sometimes they're told do this and then they can't stop with the different events. So it's kind of fun to see those different relationships form too.
As a Special Olympic athlete, I totally appreciate everything that the law enforcement does, and I love working with them and partnering with them for different fundraisers.
We enjoy having you out now. It's always nice to have a smiling face.
Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience members today?
I'm looking forward to plunge season and getting back to more in-person events as we come out of this pandemic. I really miss in-person competitions and seeing athletes and visiting with my Special Olympics friends.
Yes, agreed. Excited to be back out at plunges again and see everyone out there. So if you want to come, be sure to get your team signed up and be a part of it. If you can't make it to one again, you can do it virtually, and we can now kind of celebrate that way too. So just excited to be getting back out there again.
Yeah, and on the chat it says, want to plunge, visit plungemn.org.
Right.
That's how you can get more information to sign up, because we would love to see you all there.
Well, I want to thank you for coming to be our guests today, Molly and Breana. Nell, also thank you for hosting today. It's been wonderful watching you all and listening to everything you had to say. It's really been great. We do want to put one more plug in really quick also in regards to our next revealing Special Olympics champion event that we'll be having. It'll be scheduled for Thursday, December 16th, also at 2 p.m. And our special guest that day is going to be the one, the only jolly old Saint Nick himself, along with Mrs. Claus. So be prepared to have some fun and come and join us that day. And you ladies as well are welcome to come and watch on our interview with Santa and Mrs. Claus. It is sure to be a good time. So thank you all again. We hope you enjoyed your time today. We're excited for plunge season to get back and going, and hope to see you at another plunge soon.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Yes.
Looking forward to seeing you guys in person.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, we're going to leave everybody today with our broadcast with one more plunge video. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you at a plunge near you soon. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
that was it. I thought it was much longer. So I hope you enjoyed our video and our broadcast today. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.